Hello, and welcome back to the Who Are You podcast. I'm your host, Connor Overbay. If this is your first time checking out the Who Are You podcast, welcome. We're always happy to have a new listener, a new watcher. Anyway, you guys are checking out our content. If you guys are new, make sure you guys give us a follow on all of our social media. It's going to be at Who Are You Pod from everything from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all the normal spots nowadays, and especially on YouTube. The YouTube channel is growing, and we're always happy to have a new follower, a new subscriber. It's going to be Who Are You podcast if you want to check out more of our video content. But sitting down with two very, very special people. Obviously, sitting down with the wife. The wife is always here nowadays. And our very special guest. You may have seen this gentleman on a couple different podcasts, a couple different shows, or fighting as well. Today, we are sitting down with our champion of the Combat Night MMA champion.
Combat Night MMA.
Yes, sir.
Promotion in Florida.
Yes, sir. Sitting down with Ulysses Moore today. Welcome to the podcast, man. Super happy to have you here. So, before we get started, please let everybody know where they can follow you, whether it's your YouTube channel, Instagram, any spots that you want to promote.
So my Instagram and my YouTube are my two biggest right now. um3.yasuke. Yasuke is spelled Yasuke. um3.yasuke on Instagram and YouTube.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you for coming to the podcast today, man. First place I saw you on was on the Graybeard podcast. Shout out to Jim and Patrick. Shout out to the boys. Always happy to see them. And we love, we actually play off of each other all the time. Sometimes he'll see a guest that I've had on. He's like, hey, can I get their contact? I'm like, yeah, I got you, bro, 100%. And I saw you on there, and obviously you guys had a really good conversation. And
yeah, I love talking to those guys.
Yeah, man. And you're a man of many talents from what I've seen. You're a veteran. You're an MMA fighter. Obviously,
a father.
You're a father too, right? Yeah. I was going to say, man, how do you have so much time on your hands, I guess?
I don't. To be honest, I don't.
Yeah, man. And you're originally from Milwaukee. What brought you down to Jacksonville, of all places?
So I lived in Georgia for a little while. Lived in Mississippi for a little while Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Mississippi, then Georgia, and joined the military out of Georgia at 18 and came to Florida. Ended up being married and having two babies, and ended up just staying.
Hell yeah.
House, so no reason to leave yet.
Hey, I understand, man. And what was kind of like your upbringing like? Was mom and dad both around? Split family in any way?
Split family, but both together. My parents were awesome with that, actually. Nice. It was one of those situations where if I needed my dad, I can go with my dad. If I needed my mom, I can go with my mom. They just could be with each other.
I understand.
Dude, don't get me wrong. Cracking jokes on each other all the time, like where your mom at, where your daddy at, Everybody's all funny and love, but so it was just both were around and both were helping out, however and wherever they needed to.
That's good, man. I say it was similar for me. Parents divorced, but still everybody was around. Everybody was more than involved in the life and everything.
Still great relationship and all that good stuff.
Yeah, they're good now. Let's say now they're good. Yeah. back in the day, it was not like that. Did you have any brothers, sisters, anything like that?
Yeah, so I've got a little brother, Omari. I've got my sister Winnie, Gwen. I've got my little sister Chloe. I've got my little sister Zareda. Yeah.
Wow.
Dang, big family. I like it.
Yeah, big family, yeah.
Yeah, both sides or just one side?
So my mom has kids, my dad has kids, and then my dad has kids with his wife.
Gotcha.
My mother, Nicole. Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah, man. And what was kind of like were you just like a middle child, or were you one of the older ones?
I'm the oldest, yeah.
Okay.
Oldest.
I'm the oldest out of all of us and oldest out of majority of my cousins.
Nice.
And how old is the youngest?
I think Chloe's 11 or 12.
Oh, wow. Okay, so still pretty young.
Still going. Yeah.
That's kind of what's going on with my family. Like my mom and dad divorced, and then they're both remarried. And then my mom had my half brother Seth with my stepfather 10 years later. So he's 15, about to turn 16, and I'm 26.
Yeah, it's weird.
Your gap is even farther.
Yeah, I'm talking to her on the phone. She'll message me and stuff. And I'm like, what do I talk about with a 12-year-old? Yeah,
well, that's kind of the point now. Well, nowadays it's funny just seeing him, going through the same struggles of going through high school and all that life. Because my high school experience wasn't bad, but I wouldn't want to go back, bro. The only thing that'd be nice about going back to high school is no bills, no really real responsibilities.
Still get summer break.
But do you remember
a nap?
Oh, bro. But do you guys remember just going to school? If your hair was fucked up, you used to feel like your clothes weren't looking right. You're just worried about just completely meaningless things now.
Yeah.
And now I've gotten older, and I look back at myself. I'm like, what was I so stressed about? I was like, it wasn't that serious.
I wish I would have done more of the crazy high school stuff, the parties and the skipping classes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was so focused athletically and with my careers in the military that I didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I wish if I were able to go back, I would do more of the hanging out and things of that nature.
Sense.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. I was an athlete. I played basketball and did all that kind of stuff. School, I was luckily I was pretty good at. You know, I mean, like I went to Sandalwood High School here in Jacksonville, and as long as you did your homework, you passed.
Yeah.
And like, to be all like honest, and that's everywhere nowadays, you know.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough to where my senior year, I only had one class a day. So I had like I would literally go to class in the morning, I would go to work after, and then I'd be home by 6. It was awesome. That was like the best year of my life right there. And
That's crazy. I'm jealous of that.
well, I had that. I did that, and I almost graduated with my associate's degree as well. So, like, I was pretty lucky when it came to that stuff, and just happened to be good enough at school to pass through. Didn't graduate college. I got my associate's degree, and then, you know, kind of life and other things happened. You know, I just didn't work out on that side of things, but now I'm doing trade. So, you know,
That's awesome. My high school was mostly like pretty much the whole 4 years. I want to say it was third period. I would end up leaving school and I would go train with some Navy SEALs to get like, forget what the actual program is called now. It's been over.
Was it like ROTC at that time or anything like that?
Not as strict. It was mostly a workout.
Okay.
Much. They would kind of just train you physically to be ready for those special operations, those special warfare rates and courses and whatnot.
So it's kind of like for people who knew they were going to be going into that.
Yeah,
Okay.
to get you ready mentally and physically for it. So
Very cool.
the whole 4 years of high school, that was my path and focus, you know.
Wow.
It's not a bad thing, in my personal opinion.
It wasn't a bad thing,
Yeah.
no, but I didn't make it. So now I look back and I'm like, again, I wish I would have did the partying and whatnot. But
Navy SEALs is tough, man. I can't imagine. I can't. I've seen I'll watch the videos of what boot camp and Hell Week and all that looks like. I'm like, no, I'd break. I'd break very quickly.
I went in for a program called Rescue Swimmer. I actually ended up getting kicked out for a pizza party I didn't go to. I had 24 guys. Yeah, legit. 24 guys on my team. They all wanted to hang out one night and go eat pizza. And I was like, dude, we got a 6-mile run in the morning. Like,
Oh, hell no.
I'm not doing that, right?
Yeah.
I'd be the same way.
And don't get me wrong, I was also I was pretty aggressive back then, you know. Working with these Navy SEALs, though, they were also aggressive. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's how I need to be. Rescue Swimmer requires a little bit more social finesse than I had in the time, you know. So, these guys, they want to go eat pizza. I was like, you know, screw you. I'm not doing that. The next morning, we do our training or whatever, and this guy raised his hand. He's like, Ulysses didn't eat pizza with us last night.
Gosh.
And the instructor was like, so? Like, what are you
Yeah.
snitching for? He didn't like that answer, so he went above our instructor's head, and that guy ended up kicking me out, yeah.
Damn.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
But I will say, it's stories like, I mean, that's pretty much my whole life, honestly. Me trying very hard, catching a roadblock, and then having to find a way around it. That one really set me up for the rest of my life to being like, sometimes it's not in your hands, you know? You do what you can, and sometimes it gets taken away from you. You keep pushing. And I'm glad it happened that way, though, honestly.
Yeah, and you still had your military career in general, right? You made it. You made it into the Navy. And what'd you do while you were in the Navy?
So I did that for about a year and a half. I spent about 2 years on that base. I did the training for about a year and a half. Went to Iwo Jima, the USS Iwo Jima LHD-7. I was an undesignated ABF. That is aviation boatswain's mate fuels. So that's running under the jets and the helicopters with a fuel hose. That's
Okay.
communicating on the flight deck with hand signals. That's being 6 decks down in the bottom of the boat, checking fuel and stuff like that. So I did that for a little while. I was pretty good at it too. And then ended up picking what's called AT, aviation tech. Or make sure I get this right. I'm on camera. Aviation technician, I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm purposely trying to forget my Navy career a little bit. It was stressful.
Yeah.
But I did that. So that was just computer systems, radar, IFF, things like that. Computer stuff for the planes that we have here.
Very cool.
Nice. Yeah. Nice, man. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I like talking to veterans. Oh, you're good. I think it's cool talking to veterans because everybody has a little bit, like, you can kind of tell when you're speaking to someone, you know, usually a little bit more, I guess, not I'm trying to think of the way to describe this, a little bit more straight edge on things, you know. Like, we've sat down with guys who work in intelligence. We've sat down with guys who've worked in, what Stay Young Clothing used to do.
Was it the loading of the...
Yeah, that's right. He loaded ordinances, right?
AO.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, one of the funniest, like, we were talking to him, he's like, my favorite thing is when I put those things on there and they came back empty. I was like, I looked, and he had like such a glimmer in his eye. I was like, okay,
It's legit, man. Because like,
Yeah.
you know, everybody. That was a great thing that I did love about the boat. Everybody had their part to play.
Yeah.
Everybody was a gear in the cog of the machine. Some people don't like that. I enjoyed it because, like he said, he's putting the ordnance on the plane, and I'm running out there to make sure the plane can fly. So then when it comes back with no ordnance, you're like, oh, yes. I did that,
That is so funny.
or at least I played a part in it.
Yeah, man. And have you gotten to travel through being in the military? Did you go to different places? Where all did you go?
Travel. I can tell you my favorite places. I've been to a lot, but
That's
I can
fine.
tell you my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite place ever is Iceland.
Oh.
It's
Iceland
really
and Norway.
green, right?
Yeah, right. Reykjavik was the place that I had the most fun in my life. Like, it felt like I was there for 2 weeks. It was probably all of 2 days, if not 3, maybe.
Wow.
But we went all around that town. We can literally Google it right now. We drank the island out of alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Like, no more alcohol. No gas stations, no bars. Like, you couldn't find it. It was in our stomachs.
That's fucking
That is
sweet.
really crazy.
But the part that made that special was not the bars. We sailors, right? We get off the boat and we go straight to the bar. But it was the culture and the welcoming of their culture that was so great. There's places in America that I can't walk around and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But to go in Reykjavik, Iceland, where no one looks like me, by the way.
Yeah.
Walk in a bar and everyone's like, hey. And then they go back to minding their business.
That's
I'm like, oh,
awesome.
wait a minute. They had some really cultural music. It's kind of like where you just pop up at a bar and there's just 6 guys playing instruments, just doing their thing. And I had like a 2-hour conversation with a bartender one time about just the difference in our cultures and stuff. It was all just amazing.
That's really cool.
Amazing. Yeah, it was
That's
great.
awesome.
And that's usually something I ask when guys travel to other places if they were welcoming, because I've heard stories. I've heard mixed. Some places, like when the military comes by, other people are like, "Hey, we're not the biggest fan of America right now," kind of thing. So that's good that you're like going in there and people are welcoming and everything.
Reykjavik was very. Iceland and Norway both were very welcoming. Spain was very welcoming. Japan is as welcoming as I could ask them to be.
Yeah.
Japan gets kind of wrecked by us every now and again.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a history.
Yeah, a little bit of a history. Yeah,
a little bit of fun.
But these men, and not to bash on my little brothers, but the Marines go out there and they act crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
So these guys, they have places where Americans aren't allowed. Doesn't matter what you look like, who you are. Are you from America? Like, not even America. You're a foreigner. No, this is our space. We're going to be here by ourselves, and we're not going to worry about what you're going to do to us or whatever. And I respect it.
I respect that. Yeah.
I respect it.
I respect that.
Sometimes as Americans, we're all like, I belong here.
Yeah. Where
And no,
They're
I
like,
love
no,
it.
this is our space.
Yeah.
You're a guest.
They're like, no gaijin. I'm like, cool. You got it.
Yeah, well, especially in Japan, they're very formal, right? Like they have traditions that are followed, and us as Americans, most of the time we don't look up traditions and shit. We just go in there and we're like, "Hey, this is America too, right? We can just go do whatever the fuck we want."
You speak English?
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. But that's like one big thing me and her want to do. Like we've gone all over the place. We've gone to like Mexico together, throughout the United States. I proposed to her in Denver, Colorado.
I bet that was beautiful.
Beautiful.
great.
So like, have you heard of the Red Rocks Amphitheater?
No.
So it's basically a big music place where like a lot of acts, comedians go there, musicians go there, and it's basically carved out of red rock clay. So you're literally sitting on like an old mountain that they've
It's
carved
like
out.
an outdoor like theater, quote unquote. It's not like a theater, but
And apparently,
Like
it,
Coliseum
the
style?
stage.
yeah, Coliseum style, and it's like it was perfect. Like the way that it was cut was perfect for acoustics. So like that's why it was really good for concerts. So in behind that is a mountain range, and that's where I ended up taking her. And we went there. We were going there with my stepbrother at the time. They were going to a concert, and he told me the year before. So I was like, oh, okay, bet. We had been together for like 5-6 years, 6-7 years at that time. So I was like, all right, I'm ready. Let's get this going. Get the proposal stuff. So got a ring made, did all that. And the funny thing is, I took her up there, and my dumbass didn't think about how thin the air is over there.
my
Because
God.
we live here, you know what I mean? Yeah, and like I love mountain ranges, but yeah, that was a very big oversight on my end. So we're climbing up the mountain. We're like,
I was dying.
I was too. We're like, we get up to the top. We're like, oh, thank God, and everything. We're sitting there chilling, and she's like looking at the mountain range. I'm looking. I think it's pretty. My brother's behind me. We came up with this whole idea, like if I take my hat off, hey, get ready to take a picture because I'm going to propose. So I do that. I get down on one knee. She sees me get down, but she thinks I'm just squatting down to catch my breath.
It's just like my peripheral vision. I see him squat down. So I'm like, oh.
So she's like, okay, I'll squat down too and take a breath. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Wait, stand up.
And I'm just looking around.
I'm like, babe. And she turned around. She's like, oh shit. I was like, yeah. I was like, and did the whole thing. It turned out something funny.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love the thought that you put into that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, the thing that was cool about it, I got very lucky. Shout out to my mom. She gave me her original wedding ring for my dad when they got married. So obviously she doesn't wear it anymore because of divorce. She's like, hey, I wanted to give you this, and this is something that you can put towards her ring. So if you look at the side bands of her ring where it has the diamonds on the side, those are all from my mom's original wedding ring to my dad. So
awesome.
So yeah, I was like, that was custom made for her right there. Both of those were made from that wedding ring. I was able to do that. The only thing that was not original for my mom is the main diamond in there. But yeah, I kind of looked at it as kind of like a memento from my family to yours. And when Shannon was young, her father passed away when she was very young. So coming into our family here, I got 2 dads. So she's gained 2 fathers and everything. It was just the whole sentimental thing. So, but
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
My
man.
mom, oh my gosh, she lost it.
I didn't tell her mom until like the 2 days before we left because I didn't want her to say anything. I love Donna, but I just want to make sure nothing was said. And she's like, I go there, she's crying, I'm crying. It's a whole fucking thing, but it was a beautiful thing, man. Yeah.
My wife's gonna want me to re-propose now. Like,
Got to take her on a mountain range.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Honestly,
How'd you meet your wife?
So we met in the military at my
Nice.
last command when I was being an AT. So she's active duty now.
Okay.
She's a YN, so a yeoman, just paperwork stuff.
Nice.
I got a paper pusher for a wife. But yeah, we met in the Navy. This is at a time in my life where I was just trying to live it up. Again, I didn't do the high school stuff. I think I dated one girl in all 4 years of high school. So I didn't really start exploring relationships and things like that until the military. So, I had a whole like roster going and stuff. I thought I was like, some playboy or whatever. And I meet my wife. Actually, no, we were sitting in a room one day and I just keep seeing this chick like stare at me, and every time I turn around, she turns around.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh, I know those signs, So we end up talking or whatever. She comes over and we're watching movies and stuff. And I remember I was having like some real bad knee problems back then. And I don't know, I must have been massaging my knee or something like that. And she's like, well, what do you do for it? Oh, the doc said I should stretch. She's like, well, let's stretch then. I was like, wait, what? Like, that wasn't what I thought about when I was inviting you over here.
Yeah.
But we're on the floor doing stretches, and I want to say we were watching Attack on Titan. We were watching the anime, and sitting on the floor stretching, and I rolled over this. I rolled over this way to stretch, and just looking at her, and I was like, oh wow, this is different. And we just kind of blossomed from there. It was like every time she came over, the idea that I had in my head, was not. It wasn't there,
Nice.
It was like, I just want you in my presence. And that was completely different from any other woman that I'd been around for that, that period of time. So yeah, our relationship just blossomed from there.
Hell yeah, man.
Went to, actually, I called my mom one day and I was like, hey mom, so there's this girl, and I like her a lot, but I'm having fun out here. I worked at the bar. I was still work at the bar now, but this is more of like I was active duty, so this is just like money to buy a car and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Extra money. But I'm security. I'm at the door. I was probably like 225 at this time, just yoked out. So I had options, And I was like, Mom, I'm having fun, but there's this girl that I really like, like she's different than everyone else. What should I do? How should I play this? She said something along the lines of, well, you can keep having fun or you can, settle down with this girl who is obviously something special to you. And that's what I did. And
Nice.
it just worked out wonderfully,
Hell yeah, man. That's cool, dude.
How long have you been together?
So this was 20, I want to say like 2021, 2022.
Nice.
Something like that. Yeah, it's been a few years. Not
That's
super long,
awesome.
but
Hey man, that's good. I say I have a similar story to you there. So like you were saying, like how had a mindset of certain things and all that kind of stuff. She thought I was weird. So the first night she ever slept over at my house, or my apartment with me, since I'm such a big guy, I'm very big on not being forward like that, with women, just because, especially in today's world, things can happen, things can be taken a certain kind of way, and I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So the first night she slept over, I literally slept on the complete other side of the bed. Didn't touch her. I was just just on the other side of the bed. And the next day she wakes up, she's like, are we okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah, like you didn't cuddle me or anything last night or anything like that. I was just like, just didn't want to be that guy. I was trying to be nice. I literally treated her like a piece of glass. I just left her alone, kind of thing. But I think she respected that. I think she respected that. You know,
I am a piece of glass.
You are,
so.
yes. But I was very nice about everything. You know, I grew up with my mom. You know, I lived with her mostly, so she made sure I treated women correctly. All that kind. Which perfectly understandable, and I'm happy that she taught me to be that way because a lot of people respect that nowadays. You know.
Oh man, dude, I came to the realization about a month ago how bad some people are out here. Some dudes, man, like. Oh man, so I'm a man, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a straight man, so I haven't had those experiences. And most of my female friends, we're close, but it's just we don't really do like relationship talks. You know? Up until recently, we're all adults now. We all, most of us have kids and things like that. So now they're kind of coming forth a little bit with that information. And I'm like, oh, that guy sucks. I've known him for 8 years. I thought he's a good guy. He's a piece of shit. Oh wow, that dude, he is trash. Like,
yeah, bro. There's some trash dudes.
I'm realizing,
out there.
like, it's bad out here. For sure.
To be honest, bro, I'm so happy I'm a dude.
Oh yeah.
To be 100% honest with you, like I don't know how girls deal with that.
I feel bad for you guys,
especially with social media. Especially with social media, bro, where dudes are just sending shit. It's like, come on, bro, like chill the fuck out.
I did not know that women were getting unsolicited calls on Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, bro,
that's a thing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they'll just pull up your profile and press call.
Oh no, thank you.
Yeah, hell no, bro. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
I was like, wait, that's people do that actually? Like,
that's so weird.
I could see like shooting a message. Hey, I think you're pretty or whatever, but like just a straight up call. Like
that's a bold move.
Not
bro.
even
Big
a
bold.
hey first.
Just straight call.
I love some of my friends, but they'll just FaceTime me randomly. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? I'm like, I don't want to FaceTime you right now.
I love you.
Yeah,
right.
So imagine.
It's like, just send me a message. Do we have to talk?
No, the worst is when some random person sends you a voice message, like those voice memos. I'm like, I've gotten those from random people from the podcast before. I'm just like, click. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Two of the weirdest messages I've ever got. One was like, it was maxed out. I don't remember the time limit for the voice messages, but it was like 3 maxed out messages.
Oh my
and
Jesus.
they were like, it was just like some rambling, like just, I was worried about the person. Like, are you okay? Like, what are you talking about? That one. And then the other one, I guess, isn't a message, but the guy went through every Instagram post that I have and put a casket emoji.
What?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
People are
That's
fucking
freaky.
And so, well, as I'm watching the notifications roll in, the first one I was like, weirdo, right? I get a lot of that. It's combat sports, so for some reason people think that they can beat you, just because it's combat sports, puncher's chance or whatever. So I get that a lot, people testing or whatever. But I see the first one roll, and the second one, and the third, and the fourth, and I'm just sitting there watching, like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Every single picture.
Every post I had, like. Just a casket emoji. That was it. No message, nothing like that. Blocked profile or locked profile.
Like, super weird.
Yeah, I was like, all right, time to take the kids and babies off the page.
100%.
Yeah.
But that's the nice thing about living in Florida, where we can be strapped up. So,
yeah. Please don't try it.
No, I say to fuck around and find out in the kind of state here.
Yeah,
that's my favorite part. But since we are talking about MMA, obviously we got your belt here and everything.
Yes.
So when did mixed martial arts or training or any of that kind of really come into your life? Obviously, I know you're in the military. You were in the military, so I know they train you in some ways in combat, right? Or am I wrong on that?
Not in the Navy.
Okay.
Not anywhere near as much as I would like for us to do. I was an E4 when I got out, so that wasn't my choice to make. But that was one of the things. If I could change something about the military, I would definitely involve more combat,
like hand-to-hand kind of stuff, or
combat training in general. Hand-to-hand, jiu-jitsu, just something to keep the people motivated and fit. But yeah, a lot of it, or honestly, mostly none of it came from the military. I started doing jiu-jitsu when I was somewhere around 15 or 16.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I just grew up a volatile kid. I think when I was on Jim's podcast, The Gray Beard, I said I was an angry kid. And when I got off of the podcast, I kind of sat with myself for a second, and I realized that wasn't true. I wasn't an angry kid. I was very happy. All I wanted to do was ride my skateboard, play with my dogs, read my books. I was a kid that would sit in my room and read the dictionary. Like,
nice.
Just for some reason, that was what I thought was fun. You know? So I wasn't an angry kid, but I was very volatile. You step on the back of my shoe and you don't say sorry within like this 0.6 second block that I have in my head, then we're fighting. Like, it's just what it was. So I grew up fighting a lot just because again, going from Milwaukee to Mississippi to Georgia, obviously cultural differences there, difference in accents and things like that. When you're a kid, they'll grab anything, right?
Of course, yeah.
And I grew up in the roasting area, and I stuttered. So,
oh shit.
I couldn't joke back, so I had to fight.
It's one or the other.
If you tried to joke back, it became another joke.
Oh man,
that's how my school was.
You ever had 7 people standing around you joking back
shit.
and forth, and you stutter? Oh boy, like now everybody's got to fight me.
Got to throw hands.
Well, that's kind of how it was in Sandwood, and you got to think. My school was predominantly African American, so I was white boy, tall dude, but I played sports, so that was so that was the thing. So I came in, everybody was like, "Who the fuck is this?"
Yeah. And I had the opposite experience in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Where, kind of. There was a decent black population, but it was there was some of that Mississippi in there. I'll just leave it at that.
No, I understand what you're saying. 100%.
But no, I grew up a volatile kid. I wasn't angry. I was very happy. I was super intelligent, all that good stuff. But just volatile. So I got into jiu-jitsu somewhere around like 16 years old. Didn't take it super seriously. I was just doing it. And but I had a knack for it.
Yeah.
There's pictures that I forgot about from years ago with me and my little brother rolling around on my grandmother's living room floor when I'm trying to throw up arm bars. And I'd forgotten about that until I saw the picture and I went, I did train back then. It's always been a part of me, fighting and just combat sports in general. And I've always had a love for it. It wasn't so much I'm going to beat you up and try to kill you. It was I'd beat you up, stick my hand out and be like, all right, you get it now? Like,
well, you can handle
just
yourself.
So you can take,
Well, there's a lot of people that walk around with a confidence that they have not earned when it comes to fighting. My favorite saying is everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Legit.
And that's so true because once you catch that first punch, you're like, oh shit, they actually just hit me. If you're not on the ground already, you're like, holy fuck, okay, I guess we're doing this.
And that's honestly what a lot of it was. Oh man, and I got into so many fights just from protecting other people too. That was another big one. I had a lot of friends that weren't as volatile as I was, way too passive for me, and they'd sit there and just get bullied and bullied and bullied. And I'm like, hey, dude, if you're not gonna fight them, I will. Like, I'm sick of them sitting in the back of the bus yelling about your, whatever.
You're like that big brother that helped those that didn't have that backbone.
And that's always kind of been my position in life. The oldest of all my siblings. I'm one of the oldest cousins, and for some reason in life, I've always been the one that stayed on the path. I have older cousins that strayed here and there, and they're the ones that call me, "Hey, cuz, what should I do?" I mean, as of a week ago, "Hey, cuz, I'm 30-some years old, but what should I do, cuz?" That's always going to be my position. Like I said, I'm on my way to work right after this to go do security at a bar. That's not because that's my only option. It's because that's the option that fits me best. That's what I do regardless, is, protecting. So, a lot of my fighting came from that. I started jiu-jitsu when I was 16. I fell off somewhere around the time when, actually, no, I must have been 14 because I was in Georgia when I was 16. Okay. When I got to Georgia is when I kind of fell off. Started doing the training with the SEALs and things like that in Tennessee, Mississippi, sometimes in Milwaukee. And after my rescue summer stint is when I got back into it, and I just ended up meeting with guys that were already fighting and already on the right path, and they just little by little pulled me into it. Yeah.
And that's the thing is jiu-jitsu has had such a blossoming effect now. It's gotten a lot bigger. Like, there's big names like Joe Rogan. That's one of his huge things. He talks about jiu-jitsu frequently. And then there's Eddie Bravo, and he's the owner of 10th Planet, right? Yes. Or the founder of 10th Planet. Yep. Yeah, say him. Who else? I mean, there's so many people out there now that are creating gyms, and 10th Planet's everywhere now.
Yeah,
there's one here.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
You have 10th Planet Orange Park and 10th Planet Jacksonville, and there's a couple more out here, but those are the two that I know specifically. Both great gyms.
Yeah.
Amazing gyms, great coaches. 10th Planet is great. Jiu-jitsu overall. I mean, every time I talk to someone and they're like, what should I do? Where should I start? Jiu-jitsu. Easily.
Because most people think like if you're in a fight, you're going to be standing up. Most of the time you're going to the fucking ground. Yeah. You're gonna be scrambling on the ground trying to get your footing, and people are just fucking scratching and clawing for wherever they can grab at that moment.
Especially when you're out there, like if people are even fighting, if they don't pull a gun out.
That's actually a very true point as well.
Yeah. If they choose to fight, they're probably going to grab you and throw you down, right? And let's hope they don't have their friends. Like, jiu-jitsu is great, if only to get up and run away.
Exactly.
Jiu-jitsu is great for that for sure. Yeah. I tell everybody from 3 years old to 60, whatever, hey, go do jiu-jitsu.
So when did jiu-jitsu turn into more MMA, wanting to actually train and get into that?
Let's let me see, I'm 26 now. So that must have been somewhere around when I was 21, 22. So like 2021, 2022. I was doing jiu-jitsu just to stay focused on something. You know, I've always had a love for the martial arts, always fighting anyway. So I got into jiu-jitsu and, yeah, honestly, I think it was the same thing where just the people I was around, they were just doing different stuff. And so I was like, hey, you know, I'll follow you.
Learn about more.
I call him my big brother, Kevin Church. When I was learning jiu-jitsu here in Jacksonville, we were at a gym where the training wasn't the best. You know?
I understand, yeah.
So he'd kind of put his arm over my shoulder and he'd be like, hey, man, you know, we're going to go over here and do this instead. And I ended up just following him and meeting up with everyone else out here in the community. And, yeah, it just blossomed.
Nice.
Honestly, I didn't realize what was happening until I looked back at the years prior and was like, oh, wow, like, this was never the goal or
kind
the
of just
intention.
happened.
Yeah, it just happened. You know, it happened and I fell in love with it so deeply that I didn't realize, you know?
That's great.
So, yeah, it just blossomed.
And have you trained in like other martial arts, like whether it's like karate, you know, taekwondo, anything like that?
I've always wanted to do taekwondo and judo. Those are two that I've always wanted to do, but I never strayed too far away from the basics of MMA, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I haven't strayed too far. Of course, I'm at home training all the time, so I'll watch a judo video, you know, get my dummy out from the wall or whatever, but I haven't been in a specific judo gym, taekwondo. There's also some more traditional martial arts that I want to get into, Tai Chi, for example, but I haven't yet, no.
And the thing about you is like you're kind of like me. You're very lanky as well. So like that's where I feel like where the jiu-jitsu comes in. You can kind of like wrap someone up like a snake. You know what I mean? Like get all around them.
I can, but I haven't yet.
I got you.
Know, and it bothers me sometimes, you know, because these guys, they always call me a striker, and you know, don't get me wrong, I enjoy striking. It's a fight, and where I come from, that's how we fight. You know, we stand up and bang it out like men. Not to say that, you know, other people aren't men, but. That's just, you know, we bang it out.
Areas.
Yeah.
But it feels almost disrespectful sometimes. And they're like, oh, yeah, he's just a striker or he's a great striker or whatever. Because I do have a good jiu-jitsu game. But it's on me to show it in the cage.
Understand.
So whereas sometimes I'm at home and I'm like, oh, they're disrespecting me. Well, I got to show it. I do have a submission victory. But even in that submission victory, it was not even close to what I can do. So,
gotcha.
In the future, you guys will be seeing some wrestling and some jiu-jitsu from Yasuke for sure.
And speaking of your fights and everything like that, there was one fight I really wanted to ask you about, and I'm sure you're already aware of which one I'm going to ask about.
Probably.
So I was watching some old podcasts that you were on, and they talked about a guy you fought. So it was a white gentleman, and he used to be a cop here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
And from what I was watching, it said that so this is just from what I've heard, and obviously, you know, whatever. The gentleman was a cop here in Jacksonville, and apparently him and another officer beat a guy to death.
Yeah.
Literally to death.
Yeah.
And, you know, he walked in, tried to shake your hand, and you said, nah.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So that guy is a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
He was a black belt during that time as well. And even if he wasn't, you know, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt and say he wasn't for whatever reason. You're still a brown belt, you know. At the time, I was a white belt. So if I'm confident enough to grab a guy and hold him down, and I mean, this is any random guy, right? From 260 to 140, you know, I'm confident in my skills, especially with someone who has no skill. If I'm a white belt and I can do that, you're a black belt with a Batman toolkit on, right? And this police thing on your chest, you know, like to go that far meant that you want it to go that far, especially with backup. You know, not to ignore that part.
It was 2-on-1.
2-on-1. The guy was not combative. The guy was, if I remember correctly, the gas station just wanted him to get out. I think it was a corner store, actually, not a gas station. But the story goes that he was holding his knees in a corner and rocking, some type of mental health breakdown or something like that. So he walks into the corner store, gas station, whatever it is, and I never saw the video. I don't know if they even actually released it. I couldn't find it. But whatever led up to that point, they beat the guy until he died 2 days later in the hospital. So when I met him, and by the way, I didn't even look for that information. I typed his name into Google looking for Muay Thai fights or watching his jiu-jitsu stuff. He was I want to say he was a college wrestler and obviously a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Even beat some of my jiu-jitsu coaches in competition.
Oh, wow.
He's no scrub. You know what I mean? If you saw him, he's a big boy too. So yeah, when we got to the face-offs, he's sitting there smiling and stuff, and I was like, "Nah, dude, you get zero respect from me.
Yeah,
none whatsoever."
And the thing is, JSO has a record. That, I mean, he's not the first one. That's the issue, and I take issue with that. Obviously, what I mean.
That was the other part that bothered me too. It was that he got away with it. 2 months later, he did the same thing with a white guy, and he told me this backstage. I'm going to skip some portions.
Understand.
We get backstage. We're talking about it and stuff, and he goes, "Well, the same thing happened 2 months later with a white guy, and no one talks about that." And I was like, I don't care that he was white.
You killed a second person,
You killed two people in 2 months, and you want me to be happy that he was white?
What kind of conversation are we having? Yeah.
I I remember as he's talking to me, I was kind of keeping my distance because, again, I don't like you. I don't want to be close to you. I don't want to talk to you right now. My coach is the one that is the nice, respectful person, right? Mm-hmm. I can get into moods where I'm like, I don't care if you live or die right now, Mm-hmm. My coach is like, go talk to him. Okay, coach. So as I'm talking to him and he says that, my hand got it started to rise on its own, Mm-hmm. Something grabbed a hold of my hand and brought it up here, and I was like, yeah, don't hit him again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guy, not a fan at all.
I can understand.
Not a fan whatsoever. Especially with that portion of the conversation. Well, the same thing happened with a white guy. It's like, that doesn't make me happy.
The skin
that's
color.
That's what you care about.
Yeah.
That's my thought process, right? Is that you didn't care that you killed two people. You only care that the perception of one of them being black.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what He also said, he's like, the family got $4,000.
That doesn't bring
what the fuck is $4,000?
Right.
In today's world, that ain't shit.
That's nothing. It wasn't even pay for the funeral.
It's their life,
Much less you took away a father, a husband, a son.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy gets zero respect from me.
Did you win that fight?
Oh yeah,
Hey.
yeah, I definitely did.
How'd you win it?
So again, black belt in jiu-jitsu. Our whole thing was try not to let him grab you.
Okay.
But again, I'm a white belt at the time, so my jiu-jitsu is good, but it's not black belt level good. There's belts for a reason, of course. Right. So we're in the fight. I threw a leg kick, and I argued with myself as I was throwing the leg kick. This is one of the things you don't want them to be able to grab it,
Right. Of course.
Excuse me.
You're good.
So I throw the leg kick, and as I'm throwing it, I'm also arguing with myself mid-kick, and you can see that in the motion where it kind of goes and comes back and goes. Mm-hmm. He grabs it, pushes me. I lose my balance, and when I turn back around to face him, he gets me in a headlock.
Oh. Shit.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Oh,
This is a big boy. Also, I'm not a real 85er. I walk around at like 195 pounds. These guys walk around at 2+, 210.
So they have to cut more than you have to cut for that.
They have to cut more and they gain more, and they have just that strength about them. But that's what's different between us. I also have that strength, just at a smaller weight. Mm-hmm. But so he gets the headlock, and that's a moment where I think most guys will freak out. They're like, oh my God, the black belt has me. Mm-hmm. I stay calm. That's a superpower that I think I have more versus most of these guys as well, is that I stay calm. So he gets me in a headlock. He gets me into what's called an anaconda choke. Okay. And the choke was there. It was legit. Like I felt it full on. But again, being calm enough to kind of think my way out of it, I was able to push down on the choking arm elbow. And then I used my left knee, which is something that I've never done before. But again, just being calm and cognizant of the situation. I was able to use my knee to create enough space on that elbow to push it down and then stand up. So the choke was broken at that point. We stand up. He pushes me against the cage, and he started to knee me. And every time he kneed me, I felt more space open up on this arm. So knowing that I needed that space, I punched him in the stomach. Not because it's going to hurt you, right? I can't generate a whole lot of power from there. But I know that if I hit you, you're going to go, oh, you hit me. I got to hit you back, right? That's what I want. Yeah. So I hit him. He hits me back, gives me just enough space to get my arm out. And from there, it was just, I just tried to lay it on him. I lost a lot of my technique, and I just went at him.
Just go.
One of the things when I walk out is I try to do what I call channeling the ancestors. Mm-hmm. There's not a whole lot of thought into it, but it's just more of like my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, my great whatever. These people sacrificed a lot, and they went through a lot, especially here in America. They went through a lot just for me to be existing, much less for me to be in a cage fighting with another man. So if they can do what they've done, I can be in here for a max of 9 minutes.
Right.
But I also think to the strength and the perseverance, the will of these people. And so in that moment, when I finally got them away from me, every shot, I just wanted to break them with it. So there's one point where I'm striking with him, and I realize, hey, we're kind of getting into a brawl. It's almost 50-50 here. I don't like that. I start walking backwards. He starts to chase me. Mm-hmm. And I I remember thinking to myself, who the fuck do you think you are? I'm walking backwards. I look up. I see him punching from here. And I remember thinking, who the fuck do you think you are? And I threw this one and came back with the left, and he just crumpled in on his knees.
Ooh, shit.
And this is where I got a lot of hate from on the internet, actually. He drops, and in the fight game, they tell you don't stop until the referee stops you.
Exactly.
Right? You never want to just, I think he's done ref, and then he gets back up and you get KO'd or something stupid, you know?
It's not your call.
He's
It's
hurt.
not my call.
Yeah, he's hurt.
It's never
He's down.
my call. That also happened recently with my most recent title fight, but something similar. But he drops, and so as he drops, I'll follow him to the ground with a hammer fist, and it lands on the back of his neck.
Ooh.
Bad spot, terrible spot. You know, you never want to hit somebody right there. That's bad. You should have turned around.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's in the middle of a brawl. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
get me like
Yeah.
tensions are high,
It wasn't
emotions are high.
intentional that
Yeah, no, I'm
you
not
hit
aiming
that
for this.
spot.
You know,
Yeah.
No,
And they didn't
but
grab him. So
Right.
that fight's
exactly.
not over.
It's the ref's call.
Yeah.
You need to protect yourself at all times, is what they say. So as I drop, I hit him on the back of the neck. I go to hit him in a different area. I hit him on the top of the head, which is legal, by the way. Everybody on social media, it was legal. And then the third one, I hit him on the side of the head, also legal.
Yep.
But that first one was legitimately bad.
I understand.
So everybody who had an opinion was like, oh my God, illegal strikes to the back of the head.
Yeah.
But I didn't let that take anything away from me. That was a big win, a white belt versus a black belt.
Yeah.
They tried to make it seem as though he was, it's his first MMA fight and all this. This guy has Muay Thai fights
Trying to give
that
him
he won.
excuses.
Yeah. Try to give him an excuse. He has Muay Thai fights that he won, but also a myriad, way more than I have of wrestling and jiu-jitsu experience.
Gotcha.
And that was the big thing for me, is that I escaped that submission.
Yeah.
You know, again, he's beat some of my coaches, and I escaped that submission and then put him out. That's a story on that guy. I still, to this day, I don't want to interact with him at all.
I understand.
Yeah.
What is that?
Big win.
What is that feeling like when you drop someone? You just put them down. You're like, oh shit. You just turn the lights off.
It's actually, it was some surprise to it, because I was hitting him pretty decently, landing a lot of good strikes. Not as clean as I would like, of course, but I was landing some good strikes, and that one in particular, and I remember one of my coaches telling me this before, when you knock someone out, it's not the oomph that you think you have behind the punch. It actually feels like nothing. It's kind of like your hand just flows through them.
Yeah.
And that's when they get the KO. You know, I don't know what it is about it, but something about landing and it just being so flush, you don't feel the punch. So after I hit him, I kind of recover and I look up and I'm like, where is he? Oh,
There he is.
hey, there you go. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that's so crazy, because watching UFC fights, there's different guys who have different chins, right? There's some of these dudes you can throw fucking anything at them, and they're not like the main one I remember is Sean O'Malley versus Cheeto. Dude,
okay. I thought you were going to talk about the green hair guy.
No, not that one. The one
too,
the
yeah.
one where he kneed him, dude, and like his head snapped back and he stayed up. I was like,
You could hear that knee over the sound of the crowd.
Shannon, it sounded like
Oh my God.
it sounded like a baseball bat hit like a wall,
God.
Yes.
and the dude ate it and was still staying up. I was like,
No wobble or anything. Just
everybody was
That's
talking.
wild.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
gosh.
like when I tell you, like, that would have fucking killed me, probably like 100%. I would have been dead to the world. There was that one, and then the green hair guy. Like I remember that one too. It's just like these
I hate
dudes.
that I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either. But O'Malley's just been in some of these wars, and then like seeing these guys, like the leg kicks that you guys throw.
Oh man.
I know you guys, like, it's over time. You fucking like train yourself to where I'm sure it still hurts, but
Oh, yeah, for
but like these dudes they'll just straight go for these guys' legs, and then they'll see the dude's legs balloon up with fluid and swelling and everything to the point where they can't even step on it
And
anymore.
that's if the leg doesn't go the other way, because obviously you see all those videos.
Yeah.
Oh, there was like the McGregor when he freaking snapped his leg snapped.
Biggest one is probably Anderson Silva.
Was wrapped around the dude. I remember I was, funny enough, I was at a bar down the street from where we're at right now watching it with my dad. I remember watching the fight and I was like, what happened? And I was like, oh shit, they showed the replay and his leg literally
Slow-mo.
wrapped around the dude.
Yeah, it was gnarly, nasty. Just ugh.
But that's the cool thing about MMA that's so different, is like, this is some real shit here. Like
Oh,
this
yeah.
this
Yeah.
is like modern day Gladiator. That's what this is.
And that's kind of like my favorite and least favorite thing about the UFC is that the UFC has the biggest and best of the gladiators in the world. From Dagestan to LA. We've got the best of the best in that promotion. But they're doing such a good job of promotion that people forget that it's an actual fight.
Yeah.
It's almost like watching a video game or something. They
Yeah.
forget that. And I think it's the production quality. So again, good on them, but it feels kind of weird as a fighter to see people just kind of like, go get him. And I'm like, yeah, those guys both have kids, like, or just in general, they just don't understand some of the things that are happening. And it's not because of a skill. I mean, there is a skill difference, of course, but the UFC just does a very good job in making it seem like a video game.
The guys are talking shit to each other. There's the whole drama build up and everything to
the
it.
Build up, they're so good at that.
It's like
making
reality
a build up.
TV.
yeah, it's like reality TV. I mean, you have some of these champions, some of these contenders that don't even speak English, right? And they'll come up with this amazing backstory of coming from the wilderness and like all this crazy stuff, and you forget that it's a fight.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the one.
It's crazy.
What's the main dude from Dagestan? What's his name? Habib
Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, is a Khabib or no? The one before is it Nurmagomedov? Jesus, I'm having. Thank you for saying that. Like his backstory was he grew up wrestling bears.
Yeah,
remember like that.
That
was his big like that. No, which is pretty. It's true. There's videos of him. Like,
I believe it, but it's crazy.
But it's so crazy. But to talk more about, obviously with you, man, you got your belt here.
Yes.
So
my baby.
Tell me what the journey was like for you to go from starting this and how you made it into Combat Night MMA and everything. Obviously there's steps to all this.
Yeah.
So what was it like to start and then make it all the way to holding a belt that a lot of people have not had the chance to hold?
So my first fight, I didn't fight for Combat Night. I fought for a different promotion for my first fight. I went into it with a guy, Raymond Pale. Raymond Pale, great guy. Love you, dude. Ray and I, my first time looking at him, this is also, I used to weigh like 230.
Okay.
Y'all like a muscle man and stuff. So I was probably about 210 or something like that, just bigger. And but Ray, he's short and stocky, and so I'm looking at this guy like, oh, he's gonna be a wrestler. He's gonna, he's gonna grab my legs and stuff, And again, I had decent jiu-jitsu, but first time fighting, outside of the gym, so it's different.
Of course.
So I remember we did our face off, and I kind of had like this lean back, kind of smile, relaxed thing. And when I looked at the picture, I said, oh yeah, that's me. That's me. That's where I should be. And in the fight, honestly, to this day, I think is one of my best fights. I was not as skilled as I am now. That would be a problem if I was. But I was so calm and so focused in that fight. I saw everything. I felt everything. I mean, for a debut, that's what you want for a debut. I felt great about it. So I did that versus Raymond Pale. Also, I have this thing where after a fight, I try to get everybody to sign my raps. And so Ray was the first one to sign my raps. Cool. So he started a whole tradition that's still going on today, where my opponents will sign my raps. The only one I didn't get was Stewart.
I understand.
Fuck that guy.
Sense.
Yeah, I understand not wanting that one. Yeah, I feel that.
Instead, I wrote KO round one. I want to say it was like 247 or something like that. But anyway, so that was my first fight. My second fight I actually lost to a guy named Bill Lewis, and Bill and I still talk. So that's the cool thing again about combat sports. We get in the cage and we try to beat each other up, but then afterwards it's all love. If you guys have seen on my social media, I put the cross sword, the heart in the cross sword. It's the love within the combat, right? It's before the fight. We might do some promo. I've even had guys hit me up on Instagram. Hey, do you want to do this in front of the cameras? And I'm like, nah, dude, just keep it natural, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. Is the promotion. But after the fight, I go over, I shake your coach's hand. I shake your hand. We might hit each other up on social media with my title fight. I've even texted a guy, hey, how are you, how you healing up? How's it going? So it's all love. But anyway, I lost my second fight to Bill Lewis. I had the worst weight cut ever. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I sat in a tub with hot water, and I had my wife bring boiling like pots of water and dumping it on me with Epsom salt. Still to this day, don't know the logic behind it. I probably watched like one YouTube video and was like, yeah, I'll do that one.
Yeah.
So in the first round, I go out, the bell rings, ding. I go out, I throw a jab, and it was like the shutdown sound from Windows, the doo-doo-doo, And I survived for the next 3 rounds. It's still dangerous, but nowhere near what I actually could have done.
Understand.
So that was a learning lesson as well of like, okay, obviously here's how we cut weight better, but also you can stick it out. You can be dead tired in the first round, catching shots from a guy that's no scrub. I mean, Bill has more belts than I do right now. He bounces around to different promotions, so you have a little bit more opportunity to collect belts in that fashion. But he kept on winning after that. So to be able to sit there with a guy who's trying to knock your head off when you were dead tired in the first second of the first round, I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
And actually, I walked out of the ring, and my boy Langston, R.I.P. to Langston. Langston was sitting out there. I walked out. I got checked by the doctor. I see this crowd of people just looking at me all sad and somber and stuff. And Langston was in the background. Yeah. And I looked back at the crowd, and I literally said, "Are you not entertained?"
I love it. That's good.
And the whole crowd just went, "Ah!" It was great, and it was like, it was so natural and just so, it was so me. It was just so me. It just, it was great, and again, just to speak on Langston real quick, he's recently taken away from us, but Langston was one of those guys that was everybody's best friend and everybody's confidant, and your morale booster, your
Hype man.
Everybody's hype man. So again, I walk out of that cage and I see all these sad faces looking at me, and had Langston not been there, I'd walk backstage with that same mentality of, oh, everybody was so sad, I got beat up and all this other stuff. But just his presence altered this whole butterfly effect, altered the whole timeline of my fighting. And yeah, when I came out, are you not entertained? And the whole crowd went crazy. It was my favorite thing ever. My third fight is when I finally got in with Combat Night. And if I'm thinking correctly, the fight that I had with Combat Night, I forget his name right now.
You're fine.
I was just talking to his coach actually last week, but I was actually trying to check up on him. I couldn't find his social media or anything, and like I said, cross sword, heart, cross love, or cross sword, saw love, but I couldn't find the guy after. So I actually just saw his coach last week at a PKB event at Smiley Academy, and I was like, hey, how is he? He's good, cool, but I need that guy in the ribs for the whole first round.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And towards the end of it, I could hear him going, oof. Oof.
He was feeling them, yeah.
Yeah. And I started to feel bad because, at our face-off, it was all, we were smiling and laughing. And I was like, dude, I'm not supposed to like you. Stop it. He's like, I know, right? We like get this cool-ass dap. And speaking of, got the dap t-shirt
That's
on.
fine. That's fine.
We get a cool-ass dap and everything. And, it was all love. And we get in the cage, and I'm just, I hear him like breathing in my ear all hard. So in the second round, we get a little bit of striking. He overextends. He gets too close. I grab him again, and I was out of position as well. So I grabbed him and go back to the cage, and I need him probably 3 more times. And I was like, dude, I'm not going to keep doing that to you.
Yeah.
It.
Try to defend yourself a little better.
Yeah,
make it harder for me.
It was like, and again, we all come from a starting position, right?
Of course.
So there was just things that I was expecting him to do that he wasn't doing defensively. He was just allowing me to, he's just laying on the wall, like, go ahead, knee me. And I'm like, at one point I even loosened up my grip to allow him to move around, and he didn't move. He stayed there. So I'm like, Jesus, dude, like,
yeah,
you're not going to win this fight. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm not going to allow that. But I don't want to just keep doing this to you, like, I like you,
I'm just bringing,
fight back.
I'm just bringing the pain on you. Yeah.
There's times where I do not care about my opponent, and I'm just going to keep it. We, as fighters, we like to try to play to the crowd, and yeah, I love him, and he's a good dude, right? Sometimes I don't care. Like, it is what it is. But I cared, and I was like, dude, come on, like, give me something.
Yeah.
And so I ended up just taking him down, and it actually went viral for a little while. I was punching him, and I wasn't like, you could see I'm not like sitting on his chest and raining down shots. I'm just kind of doing this, and I was like, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Just stop, bro. I'm sorry. We can be friends. Just stop,
Oh my gosh.
All I wanted was for the ref to stop it, and that's what happened. So that was my third fight. My fourth one, the guy actually left to go get McDonald's, was the story.
I saw that during for the face-off, right?
Yeah. And again, I want to take this as far as I can. So promotion is a big deal, and that's our time, to get in front of the cameras and do whatever we're going to do, and get our pictures and things like that. And, the Combat Night's on live, Instagram Live and stuff. So this is our moment, right? Yeah. And the guy's nowhere to be found.
Oh, my God.
So they call my name. They call his name. I walk up there, and I'm in front of, like, 10 cameras, and everybody's got their phones out with the flash on, And they call his name, like, 3 times, and he doesn't show. So they walk away to go find him, and the story goes, well, I found out now the promoter was Mitch. Mitch is a funny guy. He made it up. But he says, he went to go get a McFlurry. He'll be back in 10. I waited 2 hours for that guy to show up.
No.
Yeah, I waited 2 hours for that guy to show up. He walks through the door holding McDonald's with a big old smile on his face. I was like, hey, what the fuck? Where were you? He's like, oh, I got some food. And he's like still smiling. And I was like, get the fuck back here. Like, let's do
what
the
fuck?
And when I cussed at him, he kind of like changed his position. And I was like, I'm not even we're going to fight tomorrow. So like, suck it up.
We're not doing it. Yeah.
Come on.
It's like you're late.
I was
way late.
and it also comes from the military thing. You know, we're trying to be on time and stuff like that. But,
if you're not 5 minutes early, you're not on time.
you know, like, and, so yeah, I was upset in a myriad of ways, but, we do our face off. We get into the cage. I ended up choking him out. And, after the fight, before the fight, I called my wife. I was like, hey, can you bring a McDonald's cup and an empty bag? So I choke him out. And after that, I go grab the McDonald's stuff. And I was like, hey, you can't eat this and try to fight me. And I turned around and gave it to him. And he actually took it. So shout out to you. And then my 5th fight was Stuart Maddox, the cop. And then my 6th fight was the belt.
Hell yeah, man. How did it feel whenever?
Actually, I skipped one. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I did fight in Pennsylvania for a promotion called Art of War versus a guy named Joey Milano. And this one was a big one for me. This is my first time traveling out of state. Tickets paid for, hotel paid for, per diem, all that good stuff. These guys treated me very well. I don't know if you wanted me to say that. Sorry. But they treated me very well.
That's nice.
As an amateur, you don't get those experiences. It just doesn't happen. So I got that experience, and I go to fight this champion wrestler in Pennsylvania, where they're all wrestlers. And he's the champion wrestler, right? Yeah. Now he's in an MMA cage, and I'm watching him, and I say to myself a lot, you know, this guy's just a wrestler. And he was just a wrestler, but a phenomenal wrestler. I'll give him that. The dude held me down for 3 rounds.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I didn't say it in the moment because I didn't want it to sound like an excuse. But that was another case of you need to prepare properly before a fight. I looked at this guy and I said to myself, oh, he's just a wrestler. My jiu-jitsu is better. My striking's better. I didn't focus as much. I took him seriously, but I didn't focus as much. There were things that I should have done pre-fight. I should have been focusing on my diet, should have been focusing on my weight cut, things like that. Whereas instead, I was just kind of caught up in I'm traveling and, you know, oh, look at the bright lights and new experience and stuff. And I wanted to show for the cameras, but I should have been locked in a little bit more. And that's what the amateurs is about. So I'm grateful for that experience. But he was all, you know, rah, and, you know, all this stuff. I'm going to knock you out. And I was like, all right, dude, go for it. Like, you know, we're going to get in the cage. So it's up to you. But he ragged me for 3 rounds, and I'm on the bottom just talking crazy shit. I'm like popping him in his mouth. I'm not going to say his real name because I know he doesn't like it, but I was calling him by his real name that he doesn't go by. The guy, he's not super well liked in his area. So when I went there to go just do some warm-ups at these different gyms, everybody's like, oh, that's who you're fighting? Well, here's some info.
Oh, God. You want to know something real quick? I got you.
And it was
you get all the details.
It was so funny to me. I was like, dude, this is why you have to be like a decent person, you know? Because like, had I prepared properly, not only was I already well-equipped to beat you, but now I'm getting all this info from other people that, you know, if I was in your shoes, I would consider them friends.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, he wet ragged me for 3 rounds, and I'm just sitting on the bottom, and he's not doing any damage. He's literally just on top of me.
Yeah.
So I'm like popping him in his mouth. I'm smacking him. I'm jabbing him across his nose and stuff from the bottom, just talking crazy, calling him by his real name. Words I'm probably not going to repeat.
Yeah.
Just all types of stuff. And I remember one point in the second round, we're backed up against the wall or close to the wall. I look over my shoulder, and I'm so present because I'm not in any danger. So I just grabbed him by his head, held him by his head, and I like held his head close so he couldn't like really get off any powerful strikes. I look over my shoulder, and there's the lady there, and I remember she had on a brown coat. And I looked over my shoulder, and I said, hey, that boy can wrestle, can't he? And she starts dying laughing. And I turned back around. I was like, good job. And I smacked him again. But that was a good one. That was a great one. That was one of those moments where, I didn't win by the rules, by the record, but I won. You know,
and you had a good time.
I learned so much in that fight, you know, and most of it was not in the cage. It was great. It was a great experience. Did that one, came back, and then had my title fight.
Fuck
That's
yeah,
awesome.
man. And congratulations, by the way, bro. I was saying, man, like, I respect what you guys do, man, because, like, the weight cuts and, like, seeing all that stuff, bro, like, obviously, I know you say you don't walk around quite as heavy as you used to.
Yeah.
But there's some dudes that will cut, like, 20, 30 pounds, and they have to stay that weight just for that weigh-in.
Yeah, and then you start... down and everything, gaining that.
Well, you start rehydrating yourself.
Yeah.
The hydration part is the issue there because some of these dudes,
water.
a lot of these dudes are on fucking death's door. Like they're barely. I've seen some weigh-ins for like UFC and other promotions where these guys are barely standing.
Well, I've heard about water weight being like one of the hardest things to get out of your system, and like
Well, the thing that the issue is now, I don't know how your promotion works with that, but like you're not allowed to get IVs. You're not allowed to hydrate yourself that way. You have to only be able to drink what you can do, because like doing that, hydrating yourself that way is considered like cheating.
Yeah,
they'll look at that as the same way as like steroids and other things, because you basically recovered a lot quicker than say your opponent would, as he did it like the legal way.
I don't know if it's just Florida, but I know there's not a lot of rules actually for amateurs on that.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So like, you could be doing steroids as an amateur and get away with it.
Wow.
Is there no drug testing?
There's no drug testing. There
really
are like certain like STD tests. And, blood tests. But
no, like for AIDS and other blood-borne pathogens, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What is it? Hep B or Hep C or something.
Exactly.
Like that. Yeah, stuff like that. But they're not testing for roids.
Is there any pretty juicy motherfuckers walking around? You're like, oh,
I haven't
shit.
seen it.
Okay.
I'm very glad I haven't seen it. Not to say that it's not existent, but I haven't seen it. It's kind of a thing of like, if you have to do that in the amateurs, your pro career is already shot.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I assume in the UFC they test for that stuff,
for sure.
so that way it's like if you're doing it to try and make it to there, you're already just killing your career.
Right, you're already done.
They used to have a thing called USADA, where they would come to your house at like 3 o'clock in the morning and say, piss in this cup.
Wow.
Like, and there was no like, hey, I can't right now. They're like, okay, we'll wait.
Yeah,
We'll wait
sit outside until you're ready.
Yeah, until you're ready to go. So, do you have any final questions, Shannon? Is there anything on your head?
This has been very interesting to me. Obviously, I don't know a lot about it, so it's very cool to hear. And obviously, I've been to an amateur fight when I lived up in Ohio, so I definitely want to go to more in person. It seems like an experience of its own.
Well, actually, May 17th, I'll be fighting out here again. Hopefully, we're looking for opponents right now. I'm in a position in life right now where I don't really have the funds to promote a whole nother MMA camp.
Understood.
So we're looking at kickboxing, we're looking at Muay Thai, and we're still keeping an eye on MMA. I actually just put on my story a couple of days ago, fundraising ideas for my community, whatever they wanted to shoot me idea wise.
Is there anything that people can like donate to for you or anything like that?
I have a Cash App and stuff, but I'm one of those guys that I almost feel like I'm begging in a way.
I understand.
I don't know.
Well, let us know whenever you have your fundraiser idea figured out. Let me know. We're more than happy to post it on our social media, put it all up there, all that kind of stuff, man. So I do have one final question for you, and it's always my final question. Anytime it's your first time on the podcast, I'd like to ask this question.
If I could, we didn't talk about the title fight.
Oh, go right ahead. I got nothing but time, bud. Let's go.
So, the title fight, I fought a guy named Javier Martinez.
Okay.
Javier was a heavyweight champion and a light heavyweight champion before he came down to try to be the middleight champion.
I was about to say, you're middleweight, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He fought some really big guys at heavyweight. I mean, some monsters for sure. But they weren't as skilled.
Okay.
They're heavyweights, so they don't have to be, Israel Adesanya or whatever, right?
There's a lot of power.
There's a lot of power. So he is the heavyweight champion and then light heavyweight champion, and then he comes down to middleweight, and me and him fight for the title. It was a vacant title at the time, so we were the number one contenders, so to speak. So we fight for the title, and maybe about an hour before we get to the venue to go fight, I pull a muscle in my back.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like we're doing warm-ups, and I pull my back, and so I'm not like doubled over, but I'm definitely not upright,
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I'm backstage trying to like hide from people and try to like stretch it out and stuff. And I'm like, hey, anybody got a rolling ball or anything like that? And my coach is like, are you going to let that be the reason why you lose? Like out of everything you put forward, the time away from the kids and your wife and, the funds that you put towards it, oh my God. I mean, these guys really beat me up sometimes, and he's just kind of like, are you going to let all the sacrifices and all the pain that you've gone through be done because your back hurts a little bit,
right?
And he's downplaying it, of course, but that's what he's supposed to do as a coach, And he's like, you're going to let it all go away for that? I was like, no, not at all. So I pull my back a little bit before then, and Javier's the hometown guy. Tallahassee's his crowd. So he gets the red corner. And I'm kind of like, come on, dude. I'm the number 9 ranked middleweight. You're technically an unranked middleweight. But he gets the red corner, so that's on my brain, And, little stuff here and there, and it's all just messing with me. And I'm backstage, and I'm trying to get my back right. And I'm like, oh, my God, my moment finally comes, and all this stuff is happening right now. And it goes back to the rescue swimmer deal where it was like I'm doing everything right, and for some reason it just doesn't work. That's why I'm glad that I've had that experience, because it's one of many where perseverance is what pushed me through. Just saying, all right, it is what it is. We'll just do it anyway. And so I get out there, and again, when I speak on the ancestors, right, with my walkout song, there's a chant that I do towards the end of it, and I try to look at the crowd. I try to look at every person in the crowd, make eye contact, and I do like this kind of yelling at them type of deal, and it just channels that aggressive, almost bully portion of me that I didn't. That's not really in me most of the time. I'm not a bully. Like I said earlier, if anything, I was protecting people. Especially when I initially started to calm down, you would have to push me a lot to fight. You'd only have to push my friend a little bit, and then I'm on you. So as I'm walking out, I do that chant. I'm looking at the crowd. I'm kind of channeling that bully. And when the fight starts, I realize, I'm good. I'm so good right now. My strikes are on point. Even the ones that I missed, I was like, okay, slight adjustment, whatever. My striking was on point. My speed was on point. I wanted to test some new footwork in this fight, and it worked very well. I'm going to adjust it some more. But everything was just so on point. I think he only hit me once in the entire fight, and that was when he was on his back. So the first 90 seconds of the fight, it's all me. And don't get me wrong. Javier is a heavyweight champion, light heavyweight champion. He's taken some shots, right? He's taken some shots, and he's come back to win. So I didn't think I was going to be able to put him out in the first round. But as I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of gaining on him in points and kind of momentum, I'm realizing, oh yeah, this is all me. And at some point, I jab him. He picked up his back foot. I jabbed him. He stepped back on it, and I want to say his MCL snapped or whatever.
Oh shit!
Yeah, mid fight.
Oh,
90 seconds into the first round.
Oh damn.
Again, it's one of those moments of like, I like you, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you, but you're in the cage opposite of me, right? Yep. You put in 2 months of hard work specifically to whoop my ass. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's the name of the game right there.
Sucks to suck type of deal, you know what I mean? If the shoe was on the other foot, I would expect you to keep fighting me as well.
It's part of the deal.
It's part of the deal, If you weren't standing across from me, your knee wouldn't have done that. If you were in the crowd, you'd have been fine. You know? So whatever the circumstances were that led to his knee going out, I saw a slight moment of weakness. Didn't quite realize what was going on yet, but saw a slight moment of weakness and just tried to capitalize. And I ended up dropping him twice after that. 2 clean strikes right across the chin. Dropped him twice, ground and pound. And I remember during the ground and pound, I'm hitting him as hard as I can. And I'm just thinking to myself, the ref should stop the fight at some point, right? Like, it's about there, And I keep hitting him, and I keep hitting him, and then I keep hitting him, and I keep hitting him, and I'm like, okay, all right, let me save some energy for the second round because I see what's going on here.
Yeah, you can't unload everything there. Yeah,
if the ref's not going to stop the fight, then okay, cool. I'll relax and save some energy for the second round. And he couldn't come out for the second round. His he couldn't really move. So I'm happy, and I'm also grateful for his team for him. Because I wouldn't want him to come back out like that. Yeah. But, I mean, that's the best I've ever looked. That's the cleanest my striking has ever been. Of course, there's some things that I saw that I want to change up. There's some things that I saw that I want to improve on. But that was what I wanted it to look like for that type of situation.
Hell yeah, man.
Did you ever see not Justin Gaethje, Israel Adesanya versus Gastelum?
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, man.
Good one.
Oh, an amazing fight. So it actually just got put into the Hall of Fame recently.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Maybe a month ago. Okay. It became a Hall of Fame fight. This is a fight that for years I've watched, and I mean, my throat gets tight, and I almost want to tear up watching this fight. Both of those men dug into places that I haven't been. I think at one point, Israel looks over at Gastelum, and he says, "I'm willing to die for this."
Oh, I've seen the clips from it. He's like, "I will die for this." Yes. Yeah, I remember him mouthing that over to him.
Even just saying that, I got chills.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Even in the style difference, even in the height difference, even ethnicity, right? Like everything was the same as Izzy versus Gastelum. It just so happens to be that Israel is also my favorite fighter.
Yeah.
So this whole camp, I thought I was going to have a Israel and Gastelum we're both just at the ends of human capability, still pushing forward and looking for more. We just want it that bad. That's what I was hoping that fight was going to be. Unfortunately, it wasn't that, but I still think that was my best showing.
Hell yeah,
ever,
man.
you know? And so I walk around proudly with the belt. I'm so content and so happy about it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fuck yeah, man. And well, congratulations on that, bro.
Thank
and
you.
like I said, dude, we're excited to see more stuff. And like I said, this isn't an only one-time invitation, dude. Anytime you got something coming on, come hang out, dude. We're always down. We'll have to get Jim over here one day with us too from Graybeard. Get the boys on here, man.
That'd be dope.
But no, dude, like I said, you're a very interesting dude. And like I said, it's awesome to hear your backstory, man. Thank you for your service, obviously, in the military. Obviously, you're helping promote Jacksonville with what you're doing as well. And that's our big thing, dude. This is a very special city that a lot of people don't know about quite yet. And that's my favorite part about doing these interviews, man, is there's so many people here who are doing great shit, and it's cool.
You're only one person separated from the next person.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I love about this city. You know, like you mentioned Ramon earlier.
Yeah, Tavares, yeah.
I'm only like one person separated from Ramon, but I mean, we've been in the same rooms before, but I didn't know him, and we didn't talk or anything like that. And I see this guy makes it to the UFC, and I was like, oh, dude, like, I've seen that guy before, And then somebody that I train with, trains with him all the time.
Yeah.
Or the guy, again, that I call my big brother, Kevin Church.
That's awesome.
Church is right there with, so, yeah, I hate the traffic, but I like the city.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
It's a good city. The thing that's really changed about it, like I said, I was born and raised here. Like, it's a lot more of a city now where people want to help each other and like move each other. It's not like, oh, I have my cut here, I don't want anybody else getting onto it kind of thing. Like, even with us, we know many podcasters here now. We're all big about collaborating, getting on each other's shows, promoting each other, all that kind of stuff, and being that community. And the big thing for us is like just promoting the people here who are doing good stuff, dude. You're a good guy, bro. You're doing good stuff. You got a family. You're fucking pushing hard for something that you want to do. There's a lot of people who would say, "What if I don't do this? What if I don't succeed?" And you're like, "Fuck that. We're gonna get in here and do that."
I mean, it is a real fear, of course. It keeps me up at night sometimes. I'm like, oh man, what if I'm giving up 7 years of training this hard and pushing and the money that I spend on it and everything? Like, what if I'm putting forth 7 years of wasted time? That is a real thought.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's the difference of I'm going to get it anyway.
Success is built. It's kind of like you're painting a picture, right? It's one brush stroke at a time.
Exactly.
One thing that you thought was going to work out a certain way didn't work out, and now you're trying this.
Change the course.
That's how me and Shan look at the podcast, dude. We would love to be able to make this our full-time job and everything, but at the time, right now, it's not. And at the end of the day, it's like I like to call this like my audiobook. Whenever I'm older or we're older, we have kids and stuff, say, God forbid, like if I'm not here one day, there's years that my kids can see of me growing up and being a person.
We have a very similar mindset to that. I call it dad lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And like, I'm excited to show, like, yeah, this is what I did when I was growing up. When you're 22 years old, this is what I was going through. Yeah. We literally walked everybody in the podcast. Like, I proposed to her while we had the podcast and everything. And I like made little like bits and little pieces, little Easter eggs inside of it and everything. And we literally did a podcast the day after our wedding, like talking about the whole situation, man. It's fun, dude. And at the end of the day, I respect people who have an idea of what they want to do and they push so hard to do it and they make it their life. So I respect it, dude.
Thank you.
So I got my final question for you.
Gotcha.
And every time it's someone's first time on the podcast, I always ask them this. And the reason why is because it gives you a little bit of a glimpse of what that person's about. And the question is, do you feel successful? And if you do or do not, what ways?
Do I feel successful? No. No, I don't feel successful, but that's not in a negative space. I don't feel successful because it's not done yet. It's nowhere near done yet. I'm one of those guys where I'll be victorious in whatever situation, big or small, and it's just on to the next task. Hey, yeah, I did it. Woo! Immediately on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, the moment I stepped out of the cage with this belt, I walked over to the promoter and the matchmaker, and I was like, hey, I want this guy, or this guy. Like, I'm so grateful for this. On to the next thing. Mm-hmm. So do I feel successful? I'll say not yet, but I'm building. I feel like I'm on the right path. I'm on
Beautiful.
The right path, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, man. There's a reason why I asked that question is because some people are like, oh, yeah, I'm a millionaire. Or there's some people, I have a great relationship with my family. or my friends. I'm happy. That's the big thing. That's why I asked that question, because everybody answers it differently. No one has said the same thing ever since I've asked that question.
And that isn't just in the MMA space either. That's even with my children. Like, my babies are good. They're healthy. They're, my little girl just walked. She's a year old, just over a little bit over a year old. She walked in the bathroom with me earlier, and she's just started talking recently.
Hey,
so
there
I
you go.
hear this little bye-bye, and I look over, and she blows me a kiss, and then walks out of the bathroom,
That's
melts your heart right there.
Yeah, and that's something that she just started doing. So, it's moments like that where I'm like, we're doing good.
Yeah.
We're on the right path. But again, we're not done yet.
Of course.
So it's not even just awesome. MMA. It's not even just being a husband. It's not just being a father. I mean, that's in life. It's just not over yet.
Yeah, I agree, man. We're still young. We still got a lot of life.
Yes.
It's crazy to think that we're the next generation of adults moving into this world,
God.
right? I still feel like I'm 16. I'm like, I'm just trying to figure shit out.
It's getting to the point on the internet where I'm like, hey, what does this mean?
Yo, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm starting to lose the lingo now, but...
Oh, dude.
I feel the same way.
Skibbity and all this bullshit. I'm like...
still don't get skibbity.
I
don't get any of the new alpha.
Yeah,
beta,
Sigma, got all that shit.
My
I thought Sigma was the Overwatch character.
Yeah, that's what, right? Yeah, from like other things. Yeah.
It's not that.
No.
I don't know what it is, but yeah.
It's okay. We'll all go. At least we had an internet experience, so we're not going to be those people like, how do you fucking turn on your messages?
We had the best internet experience.
Yes.
I think we had the best.
We had both, where we could go outside and play as kids.
Yes.
I remember the days of where, like, if you wanted to find your friends, you looked for where the bikes were. Thank you. Or you met at the green electrical box, and that's where everybody hung out.
Yeah.
But hey, man, this has been an amazing episode. Thank you so much for your time today, bro.
You.
We wish you nothing but success, and we're excited to keep talking to you over the years and bring you back in here after your next fight or something, and kind of go from there. Before we get out of here, is there anything that you want to promote? Anything that the people should know before we get out of here today?
So again, my Instagram and YouTube are um3.yasuke. I am looking for a fight right now, May 17th in Jacksonville, whether that be Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA. To fund an MMA fight, I do have a fundraiser that I'm trying to build up. We're figuring out ideas and stuff right now. So if you'd like to support, I'll put something on my Instagram page. By the time this comes out, it should be ready. Yeah, thank you to my coaches. Thank you to my teammates. Thank you to the fans. Thank you to you guys.
Of course.
For giving me a platform. Same to Graybeard Podcast Gym. It's been so cool to have a community of people around that actually enjoy me as a person and want to push me forward.
Oh yeah, man.
It's very cool, and it's very humbling, and it's also given me a confidence that I didn't have before. I'm a very community oriented person, so to have a community of people who DM me every day, hey, I love what you're doing, you inspire me, or whatever, it's great. So yeah, thank you to all you guys. Thank you to Langston, brother, we miss you. It's been good.
Hell yeah, man. Well, shout out to you, dude. Keep pushing. We're excited to see you continue to do bigger and better things, man. And like I said, anytime you want to come talk, come shoot me a message, bro. We'd be more than happy to have you. So, guys, everything that he just said there will be linked in our description for the podcast, whether it's YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those normal spots. Make sure you guys check him out. And if you guys are checking him out from the Who Are You, let him know that we sent you over there. We love to see when our community is reaching out to other communities and doing the cross-pollination.
Absolutely.
As I say, we're big fans of it. But if you guys want to give us a follow on the social media, it's going to be at Who Are You Pod for everything from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all the normal spots. You guys know where to find us at nowadays. Make sure you guys subscribe to us on YouTube. It's going to be Who Are You Podcast. And you guys will be able to find us on there. And then my final thing is, if you feel like you'd be a good fit for the show, you're an entrepreneur, an artist, an athlete, and you feel like you have a story that needs to be told, make sure you hit me up on the social media, or you can email me. It's going to be whoareyoupod@yahoo.com, and maybe we'll have you guys on a future episode. But as I say every week, y'all, thank you guys so much for your time today. Had an amazing conversation, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
See ya.